Minis and muscles, we're heroes, right? The dying to explore. Roll the future, hear the dice roll. Gaining realms of muscles drawn. Together in this place where we belong. Golden spells casting dreams until the dawn. Leveling up and the world to follow. With painted heroes shining bright. Venturing onward in the endless night. Where the brawn meets the brush. The story's told in the storm of imagination mold. With every stroke, the righteous unfold. Peace of our soul, our soul. Where the brawn meets the brush. The story's told in the storm of imagination mold. With every stroke, the fate to fight for. Peace of our souls, our soul.
Huzzah! We are here! Happy Friday, people! How are we? Let's get some music on the go. Welcome one, welcome all to Minis and Muscles, the place where the brawn meets the paintbrush. Let's move the cable out the way as we do every start of the show. Let's just throw that up there so it's out the way. How are we? It's Friday. Yes, we made it. About blooming time, right? We've got here. It's the end of the week. We can relax. We can breathe. We can think geek. And we can enjoy the break of the weekend. So welcome to Minis and Muscles. For those of you that have not been here before, this is a show where we paint miniatures. We paint miniatures from Warhammer and Dungeons and Dragons generally. I do have some other things as well, but we'll get to those later. And we paint those miniatures and we talk about everything geek. So it could be something like Pokemon, because it's the Pokemon anniversary this week, the 30th anniversary of Pokemon. Or it could be that we talk about Dungeons and Dragons, comic books, retro gaming like we did last week. Absolutely anything to do with the geek world, we talk about it here. Alright, so we have a lovely little chat. We have a great place for us to all geek out together whilst we paint miniatures. So, in our show, we have 3 parts to the show. We have the general chat topic of conversation. So this is where you and me can chat and we can talk geek, and we do that in the live chat functionality we have here on the channel. And we talk about absolutely anything. This week, we're going to be talking about Pokemon, all right? As I said, it is the 30th anniversary of Pokemon this week. So happy birthday, Pokemon. So we're going to talk about that this week. I have got a box to open up and rip some packets too, so that's coming up. So that's our general chat conversation. Our second part of the show is our muscle moment. So that is where we talk a little bit about fitness for 5 minutes. We wouldn't be the place where the brawn meets the brush if we didn't talk about fitness for a couple of minutes. And this week we're going to talk about Never Skip Leg Day. So we're going to talk about Never Skip Leg Day and the importance of that. And then lastly, section 3 of our show is the hobby horror. And the hobby horror is usually something that's gone hideously wrong in my hobbying life. So I will give you a little story about today, the long wait. All right, the long wait. We will get to that later on in the show. However, make sure if you haven't and you've just turned on that you like, you subscribe, you turn on your notification bell, get all that good stuff going, because that really helps me grow as a channel, so I appreciate that. And if you fancy dropping a comment once the video is posted, that's even better. But if not, comment live, talk to me now. I'm here, I'm listening, I'm waiting for you. So please do say hello, jump in the chat, don't be shy whilst we get ready to paint. This week we are continuing with this glorious fella. Let's bring him up to the main camera up here. This is Rabute Gilliman. So we were painting the elements on the base last week, so we will continue with that. And we'll finish that off and then start to do probably some of the backpack actually, because there's nothing done on there. So we will get that done this week. What else are we going to do? If you are painting along with me, make sure you've got a nice fresh pot of water. Make sure you've got your paint brushes all ready to rock. And if you use a wet palette, make sure that's nice and clean. So I'm just trying to think of what else to say at my intro, because my mind went blank for a moment. But nonetheless, don't worry. Make sure, as I said, this week's topic of conversation is Pokemon, because it's the 30th anniversary of Pokemon. So we're talking about everything from Pikachu to Gengar, all right? So drop it in the chat. Let's talk about it. Specifically about the trading card game and Pokemon Go, the app that you get on your mobile phone. Two really popular parts of Pokemon. There's loads of other things. So I'm happy to talk about those too. But if you play Pokemon Go, if you use the TCG, then let's chat about it and drop it in the chat. That's our general chat conversation. Aside from that, let's have a catch up on last week. What has been happening? Well, so for me, I went to the last live that we had, which was last week, obviously. I spoke and told you guys that I was going to a gaming fair, a retro gaming fair. I went with my cousins, with my two cousins. We went over to a gaming fair in a town near to me, and we had a look around. So, as you might know, if you're a regular watcher of the show, if not, I love the Nintendo Entertainment System. The original, the one that I grew up with as a kid, the one that was released in the 80s. And I absolutely love it. Not long ago, well, I say not long ago, it's probably like almost 2 years ago now, I bought a Nintendo Entertainment System, an original, and I bought loads of games, and I started collecting. So I've started to recollect what I had as a kid. So we went to this retro gaming fair, and I found a quality version of one of the games I had as a kid. The game was called Digger T Rock, and I bought that for my Nintendo Entertainment System. One of my cousins bought a Master System, a complete Master System, Sega Master System, which is awesome. And the other one bought Pogs. He bought a Pog Maker, if anyone remembers Pogs. But that was my week. Well, that was my last weekend. Apart from that, I've not played any Warhammer, not played any D&D, not played any... I did have a quick go on some retro computer games. So I did play Heretic. So if you guys remember Doom, the Doom was released on the PC, and there was a sort of fantasy version of that, and that was called Heretic. I've been watching that. That was very good. Or sorry, playing that. What about you guys? What have you been doing? Hopefully you have been enjoying your week, and it's been a good week for you. But if not, tell me why it's not been a good week. Drop it in the chat. Say hello. Let's just get these paintbrushes ready to rock. Here we go. Get them all ready. Let's switch over cameras. Let's get a top-down view of our boy Gilliman. Here he is in all his glory. So there you go. That's where we are at the moment. So like right at the end of the show, we were putting the blood onto that Chaos Space Marine there, or the the Plague Marine, is it, or whatever they're called, the ones with Nurgle. I can't remember the name. We did some of the stuff up the back here. So that is as far as we got last week. So some little things to do, like we need to paint the helmet on here. We need to actually put the silver back onto the where we painted the flames on. So we need to get the silver back on there, do a bit of highlighting around on that, and then we'll start working up the model and doing some extra bits of detail on him. And we'll hopefully get round to this part, because this part of the models, again, lots to do, but haven't done anything here, so it looks a bit crappy. So we need to get on that, and I still hate that. Why did they make a model like that? It's absolutely stupid. Tiffany New 94. Hello, Steve. Bad start to the week, but better end. How was your work trip? My work trip was very good, thanks, Tiff. Very good, very busy. Non-stop it was, so that was eventful and difficult, but good at the same time. You said you had a bad start to the week. That's a shame. I'm sorry to hear that, but do you mind sharing what that was? Surely we can find a silver lining. So, Tiff, if you don't know me that well, I love to find silver linings in situations. So whenever you think something's bad, I always love to find a good point about it. So let's just move my wet palette into position so we're ready to rock and roll. What do I want to start with here? I think I'm actually going to start with some shades just to make it easy. I'm going to bring in these two shades, some Agrax shade and some Nuln oil. We're going to bring those in and we're just going to put some Nuln oil across the rocks, and we're going to use the Earth shade across this sort of eagle statue that he's sort of stood on there. So they're the two bits that we're going to just put some shading on. Shadings are nice if you're not wanting to do too much detail into your model. As I've said before, it's always a nice way to just encapsulate some of the detail on part of your model. It's not something you want to throw across everything, but you know, if we just sort of slap that across there, and you can see the difference between that side and that side, right? You can see how it brings out all the detail. It sits in the recesses. It's very, very nice. So it is a super quick way if you're not wanting to do loads and loads and loads of detail, which, you know, I'm not. I get very impatient on painting, so, you know, getting them done to a nice standard but as quick as possible is my preference. So I'm sorry that you had a bad week, Tiff. Hopefully others have had a better week. To be fair, my week hasn't been that great. Well, sorry, today hasn't been that great. I feel like, you know, some days you just have a day where you end up just feeling like you've not achieved anything. And I'm on one of those days. Although I did have a lovely surprise arrive today. I pre-ordered something ages ago, and that arrived, which we're going to talk about later in our hobby horror moment. So we're going to talk about that later. So what else has everyone else been up to? I want to know. Drop it in the chat. Some health issues with family. Mum has a pacemaker with a defibrillator attached, and it went off twice in one night, and my uncle has just had 2 hearts, so crikey, oh blimey. Oh, Tiff, I'm very sorry to hear that. That sucks. Well, hopefully your uncle is making a speedy recovery and your mum is well. I'm sending my prayers and my thoughts and hoping that they're both doing well, because it's never nice to have poorly family, right? That's never a nice thing. So hopefully they're on the mend, which we like to hear. So again with my Nuln oil now, just going to go across the rocks. And this isn't across absolutely everything here, it's literally just the rocks to give them some shading. I mean, some people do put these Nuln oil and Agrax hair shade across everything, and I have done in the past, but I just think it detracts from the areas that you want to highlight, so it's worth using sparingly, I think. Anyway, that's my professional opinion. Oh, anyway, we should crack on with the main chat, right? Given it's Pokemon's 30th birthday this week, happy birthday, Pokemon. I thought we'd talk about 2 aspects that I like to enjoy still with Pokemon. I didn't grow up as a kid with Pokemon. I was too old for that. I say too old. I wasn't too old, but it sat in the era of the kids just below me. So it wasn't really a thing that I enjoyed as a kid. But as an adult, I've found that I've really enjoyed collecting the cards. And then I've also played and dabbled a bit on Pokemon Go, which is a mobile phone app, which is very fun. So I thought we'd talk about the birthday of Pokemon and have that in our main chat. So if you like anything to do with Pokemon, drop it in the chat. Tell me what you like about Pokemon. It could be absolutely anything. If it is about Pokemon Go or the trading card game, even better, because I can geek along with you there. Even more so, because I am an avid card collector, as I've spoke about on the show before. I have got several master sets that I've managed to complete. I'm currently sort of about 90% complete on 2 sets. So I'm just trying to sort of finish them off and get them done. So yeah, so it's very, very cool with their birthday coming up. Oh, well, birthday this week. I thought I'd talk about it. So let's talk about Pokemon Go. So if any of you out there playing Pokemon Go, I've recently restarted playing it just for a bit of fun. And it's actually so addictive. It's terrible. It's terribly good. It's terrible that it's addictive, but you know, let's not complain too much about it. But it's a very cool game. So the idea of Pokemon Go, right, is you're a Pokemon trainer, and you use your phone's GPS to then walk around, follow the map as in real world time. And you then collect Pokemon as they pop up on your screen by throwing Pokeballs at them and catching them. Right, so it is super cool. It's very addictive. It's so easy to play. It's super simple, and you don't even have to love Pokemon or know much about them to play. So I wonder if anyone that's watching right now is a Pokemon player. Optimus is dropping in. Hello, Optimus. How you, dude? He sent, I have a lot of Vampire the Masquerade cards. Ah, have you ever played it? No, I don't think I have, actually. The name rings a bell, but I don't think I've played the game. Am I missing out? Is this something I need to explore? Tell me, do let me know if I'm missing out there. But with Pokemon Go, as I said, I've recently restarted. And I'm starting to climb up the levels a bit now, so it's quite cool. And because it's the birthday of Pokemon this week, they released a special incentive package thing. I mean, you do have to pay for it. It's only a couple of quid, but I don't really buy in-game purchases. So I thought, oh, sod it, it's the birthday, I'll do it because it's quite a good one. And it gave you the opportunity, as long as you scored well in certain activities, to capture some really rare Pokemon. So I paid the 6 quid or whatever it was to sign up for that and capture a load of rare Pokemon. And I've just got a Mewtwo and a Moltres and some other really cool rare Pokemon. So I'm super chuffed with that so far. I don't know if you can see that on the model, just returning to the model, just how that null oil sits in the cracks of the rocks. And it just gives you that shadow look. So you don't have to stick it everywhere, just in certain places, get it across it, and it sort of just enables the model to stand out a little bit. It looks very nice. Yeah, so Pokemon Go started back in 2016. For those that you can remember, before COVID and before those crazy times. I mean, it seemed a long time ago, doesn't it? 2016. Crikey, it seems like absolutely ages ago. But I need a reference photo, actually, because I need to start doing all the detail up his leg. Tiff is saying, I play Pokemon Go, not often, but I have 4 stops reachable from my living room. Oh, you lucky devil. That's really handy. So having 4 stops nearby you is really cool, because it means that you get raids that happen there. You can spin the Pokestops themselves and get all the what they're called, Pokeballs, and all of the revived medicines and all of that sort of stuff. So that's really handy that you've got that by your house. I've got 1 nearby, but that's still cool. So I can still use that. That's good. But I have to go out and walk about. Not that that's an issue at all. Right, so here's my image here. This is what he should be looking like. Oh, they did that hawk thing grey. I did mine in that colour. So I don't know. I still think mine looks cooler. So I like the difference in colour. But we're going to move over to this knee, actually, and there's a little bit of gold that I actually missed. So we best get the gold out, bettn't we? Optimus said, I used to go round London on lunch breaks trying to catch them all when it first came out. Yeah, so it was a massive craze when it first came out. It was super popular. Like, it was an absolute storm. You know, like kids got obsessed with the Prime drink, right? And that was a big old craze. Kids got obsessed with Pokemon Go. and they absolutely loved it. People were, you know, walking around with their kids, and families were actually getting out. So I actually think it was a really good thing that it happened, because it inspired a lot of people that may not be into getting out and about to go out and about with their kids as a family activity and actually play this game. So for me, I thought that was top notch. If it's going to inspire people to get out and get off the couch, then that's a really good thing, right? So I am all behind that. It was super popular, and it was sort of, you know, it got, as I said, got people outside exploring again, and it was one of the top downloadable apps at the time. It was, you know, one of the best, and it's still going to this day, right? So it's been going 10 years, Pokemon Go. I don't think the numbers have dwindled at all. It seems like they're still going up in terms of the user base. So it's pretty impressive. And you can play it completely for free as well. You don't have to spend a penny. Yes, I did mention earlier that I did buy the 30th anniversary, what do you call it, sort of pack, so to speak, which is about £6 or something. But you don't have to spend a penny. That's the other beauty of the game, which I really like. You know, name another game where you, well, there's not many actually. Even computer games now is all about packs that you have to download. I'm not a massive fan of that, to be fair. I find that rather frustrating. But, you know, nonetheless, it's there. And it also got a massive community sort of going in terms of the competitive events around it as well. So you had this element between kids and families and going out and just doing it for fun. And then you had this really hardcore gamified sort of group that would be wanting to not only just collect everything, but demolish everybody, you know, and sort of win the game, so to speak. Stiff is saying there's a gym up the road, but it's on a hill, and hills are my nemesis. Yeah, absolutely. I'm lucky that Pokestop by me is a gym. So that is a really cool plus for me. If you haven't played Pokemon Go, a gym is somewhere that acts like a Pokestop. A Pokestop is where you spin this little sort of circle and it drops goodies for you. It drops like Pokeballs so you can catch more Pokemon, etc. Well, gyms have that functionality, so they drop Pokeballs and all the good stuff. But they also allow you to play in what's called raids. So you can battle against more stronger Pokemon to try and then win them. And that in itself is really handy. So if you live near a Pokemon gym, like I do, it's a bit of an advantage because it means you've got one next to you the whole time. And mine's not on a hill, Tiff, so I don't have to go anywhere. There are ones on hills around here, though. That wasn't a brag, Tiff, by the way. I wasn't sort of rubbing salt in the wounds that I don't have to go anywhere. Alright. There's the skull done on, and his sort of gold across the knee that we didn't do. Or I didn't do, not you guys. It's just me that doesn't do these things and forgets. Oh, wrong colour. I literally just washed that colour off the paintbrush. Then put my paintbrush back in the same one. Absolute daft bugger sometimes, I tell you. Just re-going over some of that gold just above, just to give it a deeper gold look. Because sometimes when you're metallics, if you do, you're not supposed to water down your metallics, but I still do because I just find that they go on better. But sometimes when you do, you get this sort of effect where they become a little bit opaque. Sometimes you might have to go back over them because otherwise you'll end up getting the undercolour shining through. And we don't want that. So I'm just sort of covering my mistakes. And just little areas, little touch-up areas where you notice things, and that happens a lot when you're painting a model. So, you know, you'll finish a section and you won't notice a darn thing, and then you'll be painting something else and you'll come back to it and go, oh my lord, that's like that. Why did I leave that there? So sometimes it's just good to revisit bits and bobs on the model, just so you can tidy things up. And that's what I'm doing right now. Just some of this trim just needs an extra bit of love, just to make sure it's all good. And we also need to go around with some blue as well at some point and re-trim in some of the gold. So where sometimes I'm a little bit, I guess, lazy, but it might have been that it was a long week and I get a bit lax with my painting and I sort of slip over an area, I'll then sort of spill the gold in this instance into what should be the blue. And it's not a big deal. I'm never worried about it, because it takes 2 seconds to go back over with the original colour and just cover up your mistakes, or your errors. That's why it's also really important for you guys to make sure that when you are painting a model, make sure that your paint is at the right consistency. Consistency of your paint is key. When it's at the right consistency, not only does it flow off of your paintbrush better, so it makes you appear like you're a better painter, but it sits on the model better. So it doesn't sort of stand out and look thick and gloopy or out of place. It sits on the model as if it was part of the model, and it just looks better. A more professional finish is probably the better words to use. So what else? Yes, I loved on Pokemon Go the sort of walking around gaming sort of environment. The fact that you could, get up out your couch, go around places and you find new places that you never knew of, all because you're trying to catch a darn Pokemon. Oh, bugger. See there, I just slipped slightly, put too much gold onto the model, but never mind. That's fine. I tell you what, this trim does take some concentration. Just going to quickly wash my brush. Sometimes when you're painting, it might be a slipped hair that comes out the end of the brush, or it might just be a little bit of thick paint and it sort of gloops on the end of your brush and ends up sort of making your brush really thick when you go to place it onto the model. And by really thick, I don't mean that it makes your paintbrush stupid, but what I mean is it makes the paint come off of your paintbrush either not in the place you want it, or in a way or a manner that's kind of uncontrollable. So just be careful of paint glooping or having sort of a loose stray strand on your paintbrush, because that can happen, does happen, and I guarantee will happen to you at some point. Yeah, so as I was saying, I liked the fitness sort of, I liked the fitness outdoorsy sort of aspect of Pokemon Go. That's why I found it very good. It was a great excuse for kids that are also really into computer games and don't really want to sort of do anything apart from play games. It actually gave them an excuse to get out and a reason and a justification. So, if you've got children and you're watching this and they're sort of well into computer games and a little bit on the lazy side, maybe try Pokemon Go with them. Maybe try Pokemon Go. Get them outside. Get them in some fresh air. Give them, or allow them to have your phone, or if they're lucky enough to have their own phone, have their phone out whilst you're going around. You can talk, you can chat about the Pokemon, you can have some connection with your kids, and you get them outside. And I think that's massively, massively, massively important. So please do give that a whirl if you can. One thing that's quite cool on Pokemon Go as well is that there's a massive community around Pokemon Go, and that's not just in on the online game itself. So there's loads of events that happen, in-person events that you can attend yourself and you can go to, and it's a great opportunity for fellow geeks to get together. So, you know, much like we have our show here on every Friday, and it's a platform for geeks to get together and talk about geeky stuff. You know, same as Pokemon Go get-togethers. There's loads of them that happen, and they advertise some stuff on the app. And there's also sort of local social groups that will get together and play the game as well. So it's hugely social. I mean, one of the downsides about Pokemon Go is it gets you into the cards. And that might not be as fun because it costs lots of pennies, right? Although the cards are fun. The cards are amazing, right? I love playing the cards. We'll get into the TCG later. But Pokemon Go can get you sucked into the world of Pokemon and playing the games and all the rest of it. So just be warned, it could be a dark spiral for you to fall down if you're not careful. But a lovely hobby nonetheless. When I'm talking about those community events as well, there's things like legendary raids that you can go on where super rare Pokemon turn up, which you've never had an opportunity to catch, but you can group together to catch these super rare Pokemon. Really powerful Pokemon that only appear every now and then, and you can work with another player or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever, and you can then capture them, which is it feels like a proper success when you manage to capture these rare Pokemon. It's a proper little yeah, check me out. It's like a moment of brag. So it's very cool to do. So what about everyone else then? Is apart from Tiff saying that she goes to the gym, the Pokemon gym. Well, tries to avoid the Pokemon gym that's up the hill by her house, because hills are our nemesis. What about everyone else? Does anyone else play Pokemon? Drop it in the chat if you do. Let me know. Or if you got any other geeky things you want to bring up today. Again, absolutely happy to talk about them whilst we continue to paint our Gilliman figure. Take a pause of talking for 2 seconds. So I find myself talking absolutely non-stop on this show, and I sort of finish it and I'm like, whew, that was a lot of talking. You guys probably get sick to death of my talking. So quite often what happens in Pokemon Go is they have little sort of mini events that happen during throughout the app, and they happen all the time. It doesn't have to be for a specific event as such, like the 30th anniversary. It could just be the weekly event that's happening, right? And these events are cool because they give you the ability to unlock new things. Now, whether that is a new Pokemon at the end of it, or whether that is Pokeballs, or whether that is revive potions or whatever, it gives you the opportunity to win those and keep them for yourself, which is good. What I found as well, and I don't know if anyone else has found this, but when you're playing the game, what's quite interesting is if you just play it in your area, which is absolutely fine and you can just do that. However, Pokemon seem to be quite specific to regions. So when you are, looking at Pokemon in a certain place, you might go to a new place and then find that the Pokemon are not completely different, but you will find 1 or 2 that you've never seen before. Or you might find ones that you have seen but very rarely, and they're just absolutely abundant where you are. So, for example, when I was away with work, I was in the US, and out there I found an absolute abundance of Ponyta, which is a Pokemon that looks like a horse with fire coming out of the head. It's very cool. And there was absolutely loads of them, and I've been looking for them, and I found the occasional one or two, but out there I found an absolute shed load, which was very handy because you need to then power up your Pokemons to make them stronger, and to do that you have to capture the Pokemon of the type you're looking for, because that gives you a candy. So if you capture a Pikachu, for example, it will give you a Pikachu candy, and you can use the Pikachu candies then to level up your Pokemon. So it's vital that you find Pokemons of the same type as yours so you can get the candies. There's some really tiny little areas in here I'm trying to get my brush into, but it's a little bit difficult. Just right in that tiny little elbow joint there, if you can just about see it. Oh, and there's the underside of it here. Oh, gosh darn it. How am I gonna... Some of these are just... Yeah, I say it, every model I paint, sometimes you just have to paint before you build. It's the only way to truly get 100% coverage on a model in all the nooks and crannies in the areas you need to paint. Because otherwise you just end up missing little tiny bits. I mean, it's okay, but you know, you want to try and get all the bits that you need to get. I'm just going to open my phone up to make sure I've got my reference picture. Right, okay, so we've got this little X111 in the middle, and we've also, for the 13th company, and we've also got a little Imperial Eagle sign there as well, the insignia of the Imperium. So we're going to do that. I'm not going to do it in gold though, because crikey, there is a lot of gold on this model. I'm actually going to use Runelord Brass. So Runelord Brass, just as a different, much like I did here on this eagle, and you might not be able to see it from the camera, but you can tell the difference between this kind of gold or goldish colour to that. They are different. One is gold, one is brass, as per the names, but they do, it just makes, when you look at the model, instead of being like just a lump of gold, it just gives a little bit of difference, a bit of variation, and I kind of like that. So let's just get this little fella here painted. There we go. There we are. That's that bit done. Need a little bit more water in this wraith bone just to make it thin enough to run off my paintbrush nicely for this part. In fact, I'm going to have to get the geek glasses out for this. They're coming out. The geek glasses are being deployed just so I can zoom in. Oh, actually, whilst I'm there, I'll just tidy this skull up as well. Going ever so gently across here. You can see my paint's actually a little bit too thin. It's a little bit too thin where it's just running over the edge. It's a bit too runny. So too watery, but that's fine. We can correct. But it doesn't look terrible. And it doesn't look perfect, but it doesn't look terrible. Oh, now I've done it. Oh gosh, sometimes when you try and go back and redo things, it just ruins it. Sometimes you're better off just leaving it and moving on. So we've got that part done. There's some little black sort of bits in between his armour, where his like joints are. And I like to put on my Space Marines, I like to paint those black. Hal is in the house. How are you, Hal? How's life? How are you? How? I hope you're good, buddy. I hope all is well. In the world of Denmark. It is Denmark, isn't it, that you're from? I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. There we go. Yeah, so what else about Pokemon Go then? How do you play Pokemon Go? Have you ever played Pokemon Go? It's Pokemon's 30th anniversary this week. So part of the chat is about Pokemon Go and the trading card games as well. So we're currently talking about Pokemon Go. We were talking about different Pokemons in different regions and what's available differently to different people when you play. So it does depend on your location. So if you're near water, for example, you get a different type of Pokemon than you would if you're in a forest, for example. So there is a lot of cool stuff about it. As I said, I found when I went abroad, I was finding more of the Pokemon I see less of here, but I was seeing more over in the US. I don't know why that was. It was just a thing, I guess. But I think it's fairly well known that Pokemon are pretty regional. There we go. So there's other types of Pokemon as well you can get that are different variants of the Pokemon that you're catching. So they can be shinies or they can be lucky versions. And it just gives you a little bit of extra. It might, for example, a lucky Pokemon might just be better in combat than a normal version of that Pokemon. It might mean that it picks up more candy than the usual version of the Pokemon you find. Or it just might mean that it's got a cool background and it looks awesome. Or it might be a different colour maybe, like a rare colour. And it just gives the sort of additional part to the collecting that, you know, that collectors love. That sort of gives you that rarity find, you know. Because everyone is always, doesn't matter what you do really, everyone's always looking for the rare item. Doesn't matter whether it's Pokemon cards or whether it's Nintendo games, people are looking for the rare item, and people want the rare item because it's more valuable. And that same goes for Pokemon Go. The people that sell their accounts with, you know, loads of high-level Pokemons on for an absolute fortune. I don't know if that's legal, but probably not. But people do. Like you see on there as well, just by doing the black in those areas. Or you can't quite see actually the blacks. But it just breaks up the blue and the gold, which is quite nice. Because there is a lot of blue and gold here. Just checking the back to see if we're missing any of it. Ah. So there's some black sections we need to do on his butt cheeks. Let's get them done. There we are. Oh, Joel's in the house. How are you? How are you, Joel? Yes, you are, Hal. You are from Denmark. Huzzah. Welcome, my friend. I thought it was Denmark. I just forget sometimes. I'm just a forgetful guy. So do forgive me. Is it Havorden har du det? Is that right? For Danish? Don't know if my pronunciation's correct. How you can tell me if I'm absolutely bodging your language. But I think that was right. Again, could be wrong. But I like languages. They're very fun. How's saying, well, I have made a kit bash and I have wanted to do now for a long time. Nice. That's awesome. Have you put some pictures for us onto the Discord, dude, so we can have a look at your kit bash? I would love to see it. It'd be nice to see it if you've done it, that is. You might not have even started it yet, so don't panic if you haven't. But when you do, stick it on the Discord. For those of you who don't know, Minis and Muscles, we have our very own Discord channel. You can find the details of that Discord channel in the bio of the YouTube page. So if you look at our YouTube page, go to the bio in that and you will find the details there for the link to the Minis and Muscles Discord channel. And you can chat in there with all your friends that you see here. And you can chat with me in there about anything geek that you want. We've sort of got places for putting your miniature pictures, places talking about, you know, computer games or just general geek chat. Just a nice friendly space for people to talk. Tiff is saying hello to Joel. Joel is saying doing good but about to do some painting finally. Oh, nice. To be fair, I haven't done enough painting. You know, sometimes when you just get into the point where you don't want to push it, because painting is like, the hobby of painting itself can be, well, it is very time consuming, and it can be quite a pressured environment, especially if you're like me and you put pressures on yourself, but you also have a large collection of minis that just needs to be sorted. So I then put pressure on myself, and then it becomes unfun. And then because you're sort of hammering through models all the time, or trying to hammer through models, you then get a little bit sort of disjointed and it's not as fun. So do take the time when you're painting just to give yourself a break. Step away, give yourself a break. That's absolutely fine. You don't need to do everything every day, all day. So give yourself a break when you're painting. Take it easy, take it steady. Oh, yes, I haven't. It's on the Discord. Oh, okay, I'll check it out. Sorry, dude, I haven't seen it. I kit bash a Lord Impositor. Oh, okay. Maybe have I seen that? Maybe I've liked it. I can't remember. Again, memory terrible. My memory, that is. Right, let's get some silver on the go, I think. We've got like some white there and some white. We need some white as well and some silver. Okay, we need to mix up some silver and some white. I'll be using... Oh, crikey, that's really loud, isn't it? There you go, if I do that. I'll be using some lead belcher, and I'm going to be using some Corax white. They're my two favourite silvers. That's, sorry, my favourite silver and my favourite white. because this white is sort of off-white, like a slightly darker, and it just doesn't look bright. So if you want something that looks a little bit more like a natural white or a real white, then use Corax white. However, my Corax white is very low. That's not good. I'm just having to scrape this into my wet palette just to get that in there. Right, that's a note to self. Weekend purchase of Corax white, Steve. Come on. Get some new paints on the go. Right, so where were we painting? I was going to paint something white. I was going to paint this. Just give that an extra little bit of white. There we go. And I was going to paint these little bead thingies as well that are sort of coming down from his waist. Do these in white. And they'll end up slightly grey because we'll give them a bit of Nuln Oil across just so you can see the ridges in between the little beads. Skillerman's love beads hanging right there. For those that know, know. Oh dear, sorry. I'm not usually crass on my YouTube page. One thing I love about Pokemon Go is because we're talking about Pokemon in general today because it's Pokemon's 30th anniversary. But one thing I love about Pokemon Go is you get to level up your Pokemon. So you don't just catch it and that's it, you're done. You get to level that bad boy up and make it more powerful, more deadly, more dangerous, so it can win you more battles. And I do love a sort of a bit about computer games in general, and you know the sort of customizational options where you're different from everyone else. And the fact that you have to level up your Pokemon I find super cool because it means that nobody's exactly the same. My Pikachu, for example, is not going to be the same as yours, same as our Gengars won't be the same, you know, and they're all going to be different. And that's, I find, is a cool factor. And it also means that, you know, you might win a battle one day with X Pokemon, but you'll lose another battle the next day because of this Pokemon. And it sort of brings a bit of longevity to the game as well, where you do require to put in some sort of hard work and dedication to build up your Pokemon group so that they're powerful enough. There we go. So slowly getting there, right? Slowly getting there. I'm still working on Massive Darkness 2. Okay, got you, Joel. Got you. Tiffany's saying, I have almost 2 full armies and more to paint. I have the Stormbringer magazine collection and I haven't painted much of it. Tiff, I don't know whether you was about when I did my Pile of Shame video. But I did a Pile of Shame video quite early on in my stream. And it's really embarrassing. My Pile of Shame is terribly bad. I would urge anyone that hasn't seen the video to go back and have a quick watch, even if you just give it a like, scan through it, and just watch the important bits. It's pretty bad. It's pretty devastating. So I know how you feel, right? Having that that Pile of Shame is embarrassing as heck. It also means that you've got a gajillion models to paint, which then sort of puts that pressure on, right? And that's why sometimes I just have to, I don't know, I'll like in fact, that's one reason why I buy second-hand models, right? So I buy second-hand models because I hate the building a lot of the time. So they already come pre-built. Most of them I buy cheap, so I'll buy the ones that aren't painted very well. But they've got a base coat, as long as it's not been plastered on. I'll buy them and then I'll repaint them and get them looking good. So I did that with a Dreadnought the other day, a Ballistus Dreadnought, and he actually looks really cool. So I do like that because it does save me time, because when you've got so much of an army to paint, it's almost an endless task, and I kind of get overwhelmed and feel like I'll never finish it. So yeah, that's if you're sort of that ilk like me, where you have a gajillion models because the models are awesome and you want to own them, right? But you just don't always have the time to paint, or enough time to paint to get them all done. Or you maybe just take your time on them and you're fairly slow at painting, which is absolutely fine. I'm not the speediest. So you might want to look at purchasing models that have been pre-assembled, or perhaps even pre-painted, but you can then put your own spin on them. So you can then take those models that are pre-painted, add some colour to them, because quite a lot of Warhammer players don't always paint to a high standard because they just want to play. So they'll base coat them, and then that'll be about your lot. So it means that you can then come in and paint them whatever colour you want. They're already sort of base coated, they're already built. So it takes away some of the effort for you. So that might be a way to speed up your army painting. And if it means that you've already bought models that are still in the box, it means that you can sell those models that are in the box, often for more than it costs to buy a second-hand model, and it means you get some money back too. So it's like a win-win. And if you don't own the model, then hey, you've just got a new one, and it's not taking you hardly any time to paint. So always a win. So what I'm doing now is just painting some extra bits of silver on these pipes that there's a lot of them hanging off the back of our boy Gilliman. So what we're saying, good evening, Steve, says Adrian. I'm sorry I'm late. Yeah, okay, Adrian, I'm going to give you a hard time because you always give me a hard time about, I don't know, being late or using the wrong word here or... So, hey, where the heck have you been, Adrian? Huh? How dare you not be here when the stream starts? Come on, man. Where have you been? Confess. Confess your sins to Padre Steve. Where have you been? No, it's all good, mate, really. I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you are... Oh, in fact, I hope you are okay. Hal was saying, I can't wait for 11th edition, and Adrian saying, I haven't played since 8th edition. I'm kind of excited for 11th, but not because it took me forever to learn the rules for 10th. So I just feel that if they're going to change it all again, that's going to be such a big learning curve once more. So it depends how they go with 11th edition in terms of the rules, as to whether or not I will enjoy it or not, because I won't lie, it took me a while to learn the rules and I'm still not very good with them now. So it's one of those things. It's difficult to see whether or not it's going to be good or not. And I always do wonder with Games Workshop whether it's just a massive money grab. And I'm sorry if anyone that's watching works at Games Workshop. I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean like the majority of businesses nowadays are just trying to rip everybody off and get as much money as possible. So I just don't want it to be that. I don't want it to wreck the game. But to be fair, if it turns out to be terrible, then that's 11th edition. Then I think me and my buddies will just stick to playing 10th edition. We've got all the rules for it, so we'll just go back to it. But the new models will be cool, because there's always new models that come out in the new editions, right? So that will be cool. All I'm doing is quickly just sticking some silver on the little braziers that are, got our fire coming from them. So with our main general chat topic today, it's Pokemon. Pokemon Go, the app, and the trading card game. And it's the first half of the show we've been talking about Pokemon Go. And we've been talking about it because it's Pokemon's 30th birthday this week. So I thought it'd be a good thing to talk about. I've been telling you all about how geeky I am, and I still play Pokemon Go. And it's quite a fun game to play. So if you haven't tried it, download it. You can play it completely for free. P.S. I'm not getting paid for saying this. I should be, right? I should be being paid to say this. But I don't. I just say it because I genuinely enjoy it. And I think it's a good game and it's free. And you don't have to pay a penny for it. If you don't want to. There are options to buy stuff, of course. As per 99% of games in the world. Yeah, the last thing we was talking about with Pokemon Go is the rarities of the different Pokemons you can find and you can catch. You know, the fact that it's even got nostalgia that's sort of linked to old school retro games, for example. So if you remember Pokemon on the Game Boy, or if you remember Pokemon on any other console, then, you know, get yourself some nostalgia. Go back to playing Pokemon. Get on Pokemon Go. It's cool. It's alright. It's a good fun game to play. What we're saying here, Matthew Wag is in the chat. Hello, Matthew. He's saying hello, everyone. I'm saying hello to you, sir. Hal is talking about making a Space Marine kill team. Nice. There's a couple available. So there are a couple of different Space Marine chapters available, but I think the main one is the Scout team. They look quite cool. So they're good. Joel is saying, I've played original Warhammer Quest in the late 90s. The only GW game I've ever played. I'd love to play Warhammer Quest. I've not played that yet. I'd really like to play that because it looks pretty cool. So I'm jealous of you, Joel, to have played that. I did. The only one I played like originally was Hero Quest. That was the game I played like originally. It sort of got me into tabletop role-playing games and Warhammer, sort of, because it's kind of a all-in-one kind of thing, that Hero Quest. Good game. If you've never played Hero Quest, by the way, go and play it. It's well worth it. Very good game. Very good. So we're almost at halfway through the show. In fact, we are halfway through the show, Steve. We are halfway through. So we should probably stop for a moment to talk about our muscle moment. Let's just apply this bronze to the Aquila that we're painting on the back of this brazier. Just so that is done. There we go. The Aquila's done. So that was that little Aquila there, and the other one on the other side as well. So we're looking good, baby. She's looking good. Or he's looking good. Can't misgender Rabute Gilliman. He shall smite me down. Right, let's swap over to this view. Huzzah, I can see you again. Let's just catch up on the chat. What's going on? Joel is saying, Adrian, put on a proper shirt. He is excused. Oh, God, what? Have I missed something? I don't know if I've missed something there, Joel. Adrian's saying, surfing music on YouTube, mainly 70s rock and weird AI Yankovic parody songs. Tiff is saying, hi, Matthew. Matthew's saying, hi, Tiff. Vaughan Alia cosplays AI slop thumbnail. Oh, thanks, dude. Appreciate that. Well, you know, everyone can appreciate everything. I'm glad you're here though, Vaughan Alia Cosplays. Hopefully your cosplay is an AI slop. Yeah, it's AI slop because I'm a one-man band. I have a full-time job, and yeah, time is very precious, so AI is actually pretty good. And hey, that AI slop got you to this channel, so welcome. If you haven't seen so far, Vaughan Alia, we are painting the Gilliman model from Warhammer 40,000, so there he is so far. He's coming along nicely, but we've just stopped because we are Minis and Muscles. This is a place where the brawn meets the brush. We talk about fitness for 5 minutes on our show, so let me find my fitness section. This week we're talking about never skip leg day, right? The reason why I'm talking about never skip leg day is because I happened to see an individual in my gym, right? Individual in my gym, massive upper body, and his legs were thinner than my forearms. It was ridiculous. So it kind of inspired me to talk about, the reason why not to skip leg day. Training chest, changing arms, shoulders, whatever it is really good because that's the majority of the time the thing that people see, right? So quite often people will see that before they will see your legs. However, if people should ever see your legs, it's going to look so disproportionate. So please, for your exoskeleton, all right, for your biomechanics, please never skip leg day. Make sure you have symmetry throughout your body so that you look proportionate. So you don't have like gigantic biceps but tiny little chest, or massive legs and no upper body, or vice versa. Okay, symmetry throughout is good. Just check out Arnold Schwarzenegger. He talks a lot about symmetry. Yes, so there's 5 exercises that I thought I'd tell you guys about that could help train your legs. And maybe the leg exercises won't help train my AI slop thumbnail though. But we got 5 exercises. Exercise number 1 is squats. Squat grows the entire body. Yes, I know it sounds strange, but it does. Again, listen to Arnold. He's a great mentor on that. So it's the king of leg exercises anyway. It will really help boost your overall functionality. You can do it with the bar across the back. You can do it with a front squat, the bar across the front. Or you can do it just holding dumbbells or holding kettlebells. Or you could just hold a weight across your front. There's loads of ways to do it. Or you don't even need a weight, and you could just do it without nothing and just your body weight, okay? And just do squats. Hands across chest or hands out in front of you, squatting all the way down till at least your thighs are at 90-degree parallel to the floor. You don't have to get your butt down to your calves. That's okay if you want to do that, absolutely fine, but at least 90 degrees, that's the best way to be. Then you've got Romanian deadlifts. Be careful on this one though. That's the second exercise, by the way. Romanian deadlifts. So you have the barbell across the floor, and then you're holding the bar at sort of shoulder width distance, and your legs are bent, and then you straighten your legs, and as you're then your legs are completely straight and your arms are locked, you then bring up with your lower back as well. But just be careful when you're doing this. I didn't probably do a very good description there, but be careful when you're doing this because you can really injure your back, okay? So just be careful, but it's great for your hamstrings, great for your glutes, okay? So if you want a tight butt or you want to sort of sculpt the back of your legs as well, it's really good for that. Lunges. I always do lunges at the end of my legs exercise session. So I'll do legs for a session at the end, and I'll just kill myself on lunges. And they're absolute killers, and I end up sort of walking out the gym feeling like I'm about to die. But they're really good for balance because you're sort of at that body position where you need to activate the core. So you can just carry 2 weights and you can do lunges and walk all the way like 10 steps forward, 10 steps back. Do that 3 times. Wonders. Leg press. This is a sort of where you're sitting down in a machine and you're just pressing your legs all the way out. It means you haven't, it's a bit like a squat, but you haven't got the weight on your back, so you don't have to worry about your core stability or putting your back out. You can just sit in the machine and push your legs out to the front, or it might be at a 45-degree angle or something like that. You can whack up the weight on this one and go real heavy. So it's a really nice exercise to sort of grow in strength. Exercise 5. Bulgarian split squats. Absolutely brutal, but incredibly effective for building leg size. So that is where you've got a bench. You put one of your toes onto the bench, and then you lunge down, and you get a nice deep lunge in there. So it's really, really good. So they are your 5 exercises. It will give you strong legs. It will give you also collectively upper body strength from your core from most of these exercises. It will give you a balanced physique look. Don't be that guy in the gym with legs the size of my paintbrush. That's not a good look. Okay? Be that person with body symmetry. And yes, growing strength in your legs or building strength in your legs will help with other activities, cycling, running, whatever. Okay, so that is the muscle moment for today. We wouldn't be the place where the brawn meets the brush if we didn't talk about fitness. Back to the painting. There we go. So back to our Gilliman man. So we need to finish this geezer, and we need to get some more of him painted up. So where were we? So we were doing the silver, weren't we? We were going to do a little bit on the backpack, but what should we do? Should we do the backpack, or should we do the weapon he's got? I don't know. Maybe do the weapon because it's a different colour. Let's get some red because I like a bit of red on the bolters, and he's got a attached gauntlet sort of combi weapon type thing. So we'd do that casing in red because I always do that. It's a bit of a nod to the old school Space Marines. There we go. Terry Robson's on. What time are you finishing your stream, schnookies? 45 minutes, so you've got till 9 o'clock, as Adrian has said there. A regular Popeye, says Adrian. Tiffany's saying, also, I like your AI slop thumbnail, Steve. You've done better than I ever have. Thanks, Tiff. I like my AI thumbnail as well. It's just simple. It's easy. It's not, too difficult to do. It just means that I get something with variation and a kind of generalised theme every week. So I liked it, but obviously our visitor didn't like it. I don't know if our visitor's still here, but hey, visitor, I can't remember his name, Vornalia. What don't you like about it? Is it just that it's AI, or did I do something wrong there? Tell me. I would love to discuss that with you. But yeah, I thought it was okay. I thought it was alright. I was quite liking doing my AI thumbnails. But maybe, I don't know, maybe that's a generalisational question to everybody. Should I go back to actual photos of me in the thumbnail, or should I continue with the AI art? Because the AI art is based off of me. I put a picture of me in there, and it is sort of pulling from that. It was a cartoon picture of me, but so I'm kind of wary of putting my actual picture into AI. And I'll have the T1000 round to bloody kill me, I feel. AI is going to take over the world, trust me. Not good. What else are we saying in the chat? Adrian saying 2100. Thank you, Adrian, for confirming the time. Matthew Wag is saying, I've been collecting the figures on and off since 1991. Never played the games. Recently started collecting the new Papa Nurgle's Terminators. Amazed at the quality and the size difference. Yeah, so if you've been collecting since 91, I started about 95, 96. So yeah, you will notice a huge difference in quality of print. So back then it was metal, and I think they did a couple of fine cast print as well, maybe in the later 90s, but sort of it was metal figures, and they were awesome, don't get me wrong, and I loved them for the weight, so they felt like quality, but the print quality itself was pretty poor. So you'd find, for this kind of model, for example, you'd have loads of bits of metal jutting out that you'd have to cut off. Whereas these models, generally speaking, you can just snip, sort of trim, and put it together, and you're absolutely fine. Those metal models didn't have much detail on them either, purely because the way the print was done, or the mould was done, actually, it wasn't printed. So yeah, so I get your point about the new Terminators as well on the size difference. There's a massive size difference between the old and the new. So yeah, completely get it. Anyway, for the second part of the show, I wanted to continue our chat about Pokemon, and I wanted to talk about the trading card game, so the Pokemon trading card game, and sort of what that means to me, especially given it's the 30th anniversary of Pokemon this week. Oh, that's a good point, actually. I've actually got a box of Pokemon that I was going to open on this stream, so maybe we should do that now before I get too sucked into the painting. So there we go. Just done a little bit of red on that weapon system he's got there. So let's just quickly pause that. Let's change back to here. And let's grab this. So I managed to get hold of an Elite Trainer box of Ascended Heroes. Okay, this is one of the latest, what's it called? Latest ETBs. One of the series has come out from Mega Evolutions. So this is a fairly hard to get hold of box, but it's not the Pokemon Center one, which is extra rare. This is just a normal one. So I thought, why not open this packet up? Although it's one of these blooming things, you know, when you get the cellophane, you just can't sodding open it. I just can't grip it because I've got no nails. So what the heck am I going to use to open that? There we go. We'll use our cutters. And let's see. We'll just open 1 or 2 packets, not all of them. And just see if we get anything special, because it is the 30th anniversary of Pokemon. So if we didn't open a set of Pokemon cards this week, it'd be a bit sad, wouldn't it? So if you're interested in Pokemon, these Elite Trainer boxes are quite cool as a little starter. So what's nice about them? Really nice presentation. Even on the inside of the sleeve is a picture. Very, very nice. You get a little book inside, and inside the book gives you pictures of all the cards that you might collect. And the ones that you really want to be interested in are these ones that are at the back, if I can find them, and they look like this. So illustration rares, whoa, look at all them cards. They're super cool. So if we can pull one of those in this box, that'll be epic. So we've got that. It slides off the top, and inside we have, they've changed it a bit. So they've got these plastic inserts now. They used to be cardboard, a lot nicer. But you've got a pack of sleeves to put your cards in. You have a rare art card. So we have got the promo card Zekrom. So let's just bring him across so you can see him. Nice and shiny. That'll probably be worth a few quid if I get that graded. And then inside you have these little beauties, the packets. So if we take 2 of those, and let's open them now and just see what we get. We might get something cool, we might not, but I thought, given it's the birthday, we might as well open it. What else are we saying in chat? You are on 3 likes. Fantastic. Tiff's saying he's got 6. Even better. 6 likes is even better. So let's change our camera view to top down again. Let's move our Gilliman for a sec. And let's have a look and see what we got. Let's just move him out. We got Wurmple. We got Charmander. Psyduck. Marill. By the way, these are all standard cards, so these are not exciting or rares or anything like that. These are just completely standard. We're looking for shinies, right? Shiny cards. Pignite. Oh, we've got a reverse holo Bishop, so that's cool. We've got a reverse holo Wurmple, and we've got a holographic Rocket, Team Rocket, Spidops. That's cool. Okay, that's cool, because that's the Team Rocket one, so that is a bit special. It doesn't mean it's worth millions, but it's a bit more difficult to get hold of than the other ones. So that was our first packet. Here's our second packet. Nice packet, actually. I love the designs. Pokemon always do really good presentation on stuff. That's one thing they do. They do very well. So what we got here? Oh, we got another Psyducklet. We got Marill again. Oh, Stumpfish, Lanoon, Solrock, Gloom, Mawile, Dramper. That's a reverse holo. Another reverse holo Dramper. And a Reshiram holographic. So we got no big pulls there. Gosh darn it. No big Pokemon cards out of those 2 packets. But I do have some more that I'll do another day. So that's not a problem. So back to our painting. Let's zoom on in. Ugh. The disappointment of not getting a special card. It hurts, guys. It's tough. It's tough. Rejection is tough. So we've got some silver here. So there's some silvery things that I think we should probably paint up. So yeah, the second half of this show was all about the TCG, so the trading card game of Pokemon, right? It's been going around for a long time. So it started way back when in 1999, I want to say. I'm pretty sure it was 1999 when the first base set came out. And ironically, right, my dad went to America and he bought some Pokemon cards and brought them back for me. I wasn't really into Pokemon at the time. And I kept the box anyway, and then I ended up throwing the box out. Right, throwing the box out. I remember because my dad was clearing out my bedroom, and I threw the box out, and my dad said, "Are you sure you don't want these?" And it was Pokemon cards and Magic the Gathering cards, and I said, "No, throw them out. I won't need them." Right. Little did I realise I'd get back into the hobby. Little did I realise how much that box, even if it didn't have anything special in, was worth. So I was absolutely gutted. I threw that out. What a fool. So yeah, that box, even if it had nothing in it, would probably be like £1,000 alone. That's without anything else. If there was something decent inside, it would be worth God knows what. Magic the Gathering cards worth a fortune. Just threw them all out. I saw a card that I had the other day that was worth 10 grand. I was like, oh no. Yeah. It happens, peeps. It happens. But it's okay. I'll survive. I'll get over it. But the TCG game has been going for years, as I was saying. And it's been an absolute stormfest of geekery since day one. People go absolutely nuts for Pokemon cards. Like nuts. So that ETB, so the cards that I just opened there, or the couple of packs from the ETB that I opened, that ETB retails at like 40 quid, something like that. Roughly, right? However, it sells out within seconds from the Pokemon shop as soon as they're released. And then you get the scalpers that put it all online and then resell it for like those boxes are now going for 80 quid. Some of them are going for 90 quid. The Pokemon Center boxes, which are rarer because they have better pulls in them, are going for like 200 quid. It is ridiculous. Absolutely mad. And you just can't get hold of them. People go nuts for Pokemon cards. And I get it. It's really fun. It's a super fun hobby. I've got a couple of sets myself that I've collected, which I've got master sets of. So that means I've got every single card that was available. And it's a really cool feeling of opening packets and collecting cards. I absolutely love it. I really do, and I wouldn't change it for the world. The only thing I'd change is the people that keep buying these boxes with no intention of the hobby, no intention of anything but to make money. It kind of makes me sad a little bit, but there's not a lot you can do about it. It's just something you've got to put up with. And that happens in Warhammer too, right? So, you know, it happens when new releases happen in lots of things. So, you know, you can't be too focused just on Pokemon, but I thought I'd mention it just because we're talking about the trading card game. So there's loads of value in Pokemon cards, just buying the boxes, but there's also tons of value in Pokemon cards for the individual cards themselves. So some of you may have seen that one of the Paul brothers has sort of been selling Pokemon cards, and he's sold one recently for millions of pounds or millions of dollars. So, you know, it's a massive thing. People make absolute entire livings out of just trading Pokemon cards. So there's opportunity there for people to make a fair amount of money. So, you know, why not get involved? I mean, crikey, the value of Pokemon cards and how they go up is better than stocks and shares. And certainly more reliable than stocks and shares. It's ridiculous. You wouldn't have thought a blooming card game that was originally made for kids would be so popular, that would make so much money. It is insane. AI slop is amazingly addictive to create. Yes, yeah, I thought so too. Yeah, I thought so, dude. I mean, I'm a bit disappointed the guy didn't hang around to chat further and tell me why it was AI slop and what he disliked about it, and, you know, to have a good chat. He sort of just came in, dropped in, said his comment, and then ran. You know, but that's okay. I'll do some detective work on his profile later and find out who he is. And give him a piece of my mind. How dare he have an opinion? No, I'm joking, by the way. People are more than entitled to their own opinion of my show, of any show, of whatever they want to think and talk about. I don't care what people's opinions are. I'm just here to talk geek. That's all. But it would have been good if he stayed around. Go. There we go, there we go. Yeah, I think it was something like $16 million or something ridiculous this last card sold for. And it's been hugely hyped up, and if I'm honest, been overhyped. The card that sold for that much, I don't even like the card. I don't even rate it as a card. I think it's a pretty naff looking card. There's ones that have got far better artwork than what that one does. I just don't get why people would pay so much money for it. But I think there's also the sort of Logan Paul effect. So because it's a Paul brother, you know, and they're, if you want to say, famous. Well, I guess he is, because he's a WWE wrestler now as well. So, you know, because he's famous, it attracts people that want to buy it, right? So there are insane values on some of these cards. That was my point. And pulling rare ones is epic. I was chatting with a mate the other day about this, and just sitting there and pulling a couple of packets, or ripping packets as it's called, is fun as hell. And the excitement of whether or not you're going to get something is pretty cool. It's a bit like a lottery ticket in some sense. Okay, so you're not going to win millions, but the sort of thought that you might get this really rare card is an exciting prospect. And it just makes opening packets so much more fun. Especially when you're doing it with your buddy as well. So, and that's part of the reason why I didn't open all of my cards tonight, is because my buddy was saying, "Oh, can we open some packets together?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." because it just makes it more interesting and more fun. And yeah, I know I'm going over the lines here. I need to go around and redo some blues around this. So it's okay, it's fine. Thing is, Steve, it's interaction on your channel which helps the algorithm push your channel to other people. Absolutely. That's why I kind of wanted the guy to state it, because I didn't want an argument, but I wanted him to sort of throw a load of comments in here and talk. Because the more he talks and the more he says something, the more YouTube says, people are interacting with this person's video. This video must be interesting or, you know, have something about it. So we'll push it to more. So I wanted him to stay. Selfishly for that. Selfishly for that reason alone. But he didn't. He ran off. Never mind. We shall find him again one day. Or maybe if I keep on making slop AI art, he'll come back. So we're still doing a lot of detail on this model. There's lots of little bits actually on his backpack that was sort of I'm just putting a little bit of colour onto, doing some silver at the moment. So I think this is still going to take a couple more sessions, this model. I thought we might be able, I don't know why, but I thought we might be able to do this in one, maybe two more sessions. But it's actually there's quite a lot of detail and small detail to do. So I don't think we're going to get it done that quick, unfortunately. But we can try. I'm throwing paintbrushes across the floor now. Because I always worry as well about when you're painting these models, like, will people get bored of the same model being painted? I don't know, and that's a question for you guys, I guess. Do you guys get bored of the same model being painted? Or is it interesting to see the progression? You know, it's just sort of things I don't really know. So drop it in the chat if it is interesting or if it's not, or would you want more frequency of different models, or... So on our continuation of talking about Pokemon, because it's the 30th anniversary this week, we're talking about the trading card game, and have been on the second half of the show. First half of the show we spoke about the Pokemon Go app, and now we're talking about the trading card game. So collecting that Charizard, finding that Pikachu, whatever it is that you're obsessed with, and completing that set. So you can sort of do, you know, you can stash it away and keep it and it be worth a few quid. Because to tell you what, the value of Pokemon cards is so good, you could actually make some really good investments just by buying Pokemon cards. And not to buy them to sell them straight away, but buy them to perhaps keep them for a little bit and sell on in a few years. You can make a good bit of coin. Just looking for the obvious blue patches that I've messed up. I mean, this brush is way too big to do real fine detail corrections, but if there's any sort of small areas of blue that need a little bit of correction, you can get away with a fairly big brush like this. Go. Oh no, just snapped one of the little bits off. They're really flimsy anyway, to be fair, so I'm not surprised. And I did drop the model, so you know that's gonna happen. So one of the cool things about the trading card game of Pokemon is grading. So there are cards that people want from a particular set because they are seen as perhaps really good art, or perhaps there is less produced of that card than another one, right? And these cards are so popular that there has been a massive service and sort of secondary business created from it called card grading. Now what card grading is where you get your favourite, most sought after, rarest card, you send it off to a company, they tell you a score of 1 to 10 on how good of quality the card is. So it might be that they, you know, grade it on the picture itself, or the corners of the card aren't all scuffed, or, you know, the quality of the item is as close as perfect as possible. Now, the closer to perfect as possible, the higher the value the card is, right? Fairly simple concept. Now, this is a huge business, and I mean super huge. There are so many different grading companies now that are out there, and there's a few big popular names. But you know, there are big names out there that do it. PSA, Beckett, CCG. There are oh gosh, there's a UK one. I've forgotten the bloody name of it. But there's a UK one that's really good. But there are loads of different grading services, and when you send your card off, you get it in a raw. Sorry, you get your card first of all in a raw format. Then you send it away. It comes back. And it comes back as a graded. In the raw format, it will be worth, say, 10 quid. And if you come back and your card is graded a 10, so the best quality possible, the value of that card then like triples, quadruples. It is insane. So if you're sort of thinking about collecting Pokemon cards, or it would be something that you'd be interested in, perhaps consider when you're collecting to maybe grade a few of your cards, the rarer ones that is, not the basic cards, and see what they come back as. Because you could be sitting on a little gold mine if you got your cards to come back and say you opened it fresh out the packet and you knew it was the best quality possible, and you come back as a grade 10. Well, you're in for a little treat, my friend, because that is going to be worth a small fortune. Which is lovely, right? Everyone wants a small fortune. I'm just going to paint this sword silver to begin with. I know it's got some flames on it, but I'm just going to give it a base of silver and then we'll do some blending another day, because we haven't really got time to do the blending today. But just want to get some silver on there. I am worried they're going to bring out a new Gilliman model as well. That's not so good. There you go. I just wanted to give it a little bit of a base colour. Because when I do my blending, then the silver will still be underneath. So it'll still look quite cool underneath. There we go. Oh, sorry, I was just out of camera then. No, we get to see how you progress. Oh, okay, so you like that. Plenty of Warhammer channels. Not many streamers, though, do live tutorials. Okay, yeah, true. I don't often do like, don't get me wrong, I don't do live tutorials as in I say, right, we're going to do this today and this is all we're going to do, and then we just go through that. I do sort of bring up tips and tricks as I'm painting if I'm sort of thinking about something. And you can always ask me as well, guys, if there's like a question on painting. And don't get me wrong, I'm not the oracle and I'm not a pro painter, so don't think that, you know, by asking me a question you're going to all of a sudden be submitting your paintings to the Golden Demon Awards or anything. But I'm fairly alright. I'm not bad at painting. And if I can help anyone in any way of just sharing a little bit of something I've learned, you know, I'd just ask. I'd love to help people. So if I do have any knowledge, regardless of how good that knowledge is, I'm happy to share it. Adding some extra white onto here just to give it a bit of a deeper tone, because you can see on the top of the U it's kind of a little bit sort of washy or washed out. So just by adding a little bit more onto the top, just gives the colour that standout it needs, because it's right buffed up against, so you've got this white here, Corax white, that's buffed up against Wraithbone. So you've got the Wraithbone on the ribbon or whatever you want to call it that goes across, and then you've got the white of the U for the Ultramarines that's right next to it. So because they're two sort of very white colours, if you haven't got a thick colour on the ones you're using, they'll look very similar, which you don't want. I will drop some shade across that actually anyway, just because there's some writing on the shoulder pad across that ribbon there, so if I drop some shade across that once that's dry, it will then stand out a little bit more as well. Should really put my geek glasses on for some of this. Sometimes I'm just kind of winging it, and I'm just winging it and just trying it and seeing if it works or if I can do it. That's what a lot of painting is as well, is winging it. Seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work. If it works, that's good. If it doesn't, then don't ever do it again. It's really easy. Go. Yeah, just making sure I'm caught up with the old chap. Yeah, so I was talking about grading the cards. There's loads of the differences as well with some of these Pokemon cards is the artwork on them is really beautiful. I didn't kind of appreciate it till I started to collect cards. But the artwork on these Pokemon cards is bloody fantastic. It really is good. You know, I really appreciate some of the art that goes, the artists that do this and that sort of put the time and the effort into creating these cards for Pokemon. Because from my knowledge and understanding, they have a sort of a load of these different individuals that that work for Pokemon on a sort of contracted basis to then bring together and make these cards come alive, you know. And they're really beautiful, some of the artwork, really beautiful. And generally as well, the better the artwork, the more desirable the card is, and the higher the value. That's not always to say that's the golden rule, because there are some cards that just, for some reason, dominate the release of a set, for example, and people just go nuts for it. And sometimes people can't even say why. And they're like, oh, well, look at that one that Logan Paul sold. The Pikachu Illustrator card, right? The artwork on that isn't even that great. Some people might shout me down there, but it ain't even that great. If anyone Googles Pikachu Illustrator art, you will see for yourself the artwork on that card is... Oh, sorry, that's my head, my grey hairs. You'll see the artwork is not that great. So I don't know why it's worth millions. I guess it's because it's rare in terms of its the amount that's available. And it's also rare because there are not many that are graded very high. And the one Logan Paul sold, he was saying, oh, it's the only PSA 10, it's the only PSA 10. But there are Beckett 9s, and a Beckett is a harder grading to get than a PSA. So a Beckett, generally speaking, a Beckett 9 is a PSA 10. PSA and Beckett are two grading companies, in case I'm talking too much geek. So I've done my usual trick on these little canisters here. Painted it underpainted silver and then just put some contrast paint across the top just to make it look like a more shinier metal. I don't know if you can quite make it out, but they're just there and they stand out just slightly. But that's cool, I like that. I do need that for this little... I mean, you won't be able to see the difference in the two colours there probably, but that little Aquila there is a bronze colour, not silver. You can see it when it's up close, but unfortunately my camera quality isn't good enough. I'm just not pro enough yet, and that's why I have AI slop. That's why I do AI slop, man. Right. There we go. And also, you don't just have to play Pokemon, right? Sorry, you don't just have to collect Pokemon to trade them and collect the sets. You can collect the set and play a game with them, because it's not just about having the card to then sell or to keep in a master set. There is a whole entire game ecosphere with huge competitions that happen every year. That Pokemon run these like global championships. So there's massive demand for competitions, and that's another cool thing that comes out the back of it, because that's another social aspect. So you can actually get with your buddies or make new friends at your local game store by playing blooming Pokemon cards. Like, geek hobbies are, I personally think geek hobbies are the best, because they are the most sociable. You get the most friendly people, apart from our buddy earlier, and you know, you get absolutely cool things to do. So I do think geeky games are super cool for hobbyists, as a hobby, as a social activity. So absolutely recommend, if you've never done it, just go down your local store, and if you find or happen to see a packet of Pokemon there available, because they are quite hard to come by sometimes, because they sell out quick, just buy them. Just open the packet and just have some fun. Just Google, before you open the packet, Google and see what the top cards are from that set. Just see what happens, right? See if you are lucky enough to pull something fun. And for £4, and you can walk away with a card in there that's worth hundreds, you know, it's worth it. It's just a bit of fun. And then it might even inspire you to then collect the entire set, or just to get into Pokemon cards as a whole. Or maybe even it might think, oh, well, I'm not really into the cards, but I'll give Pokemon Go a go. Where you know, because you're more into the gaming side, as in the computer gaming side of it. So yeah, absolutely. And I guess that's sort of the moral of the video today, although it is Pokemon's birthday. You know, go and give it a go. Go and give it a crack. See what it's like. See if you enjoy it. It's another hobby in the world of geek that we live in, that you can enjoy, that you can have fun with your mates, in a sort of cool, again, geeky, no pressure environment, and you can sort of really get something out of it. So that's my sort of takeaway advice, I guess, for everyone that's listening tonight. Go and enjoy a bit more geek. Now, I'm sure there is plenty of people around you that would be happy to geek out with you. And it's so funny, right? I started my new job recently, and I sort of done my introduction and spoke to the team, and you know, said that I'm an absolute closet geek. And then I was talking away, and sort of they all laughed. But then, after a couple of minutes, someone said, "Oh yeah, I used to play Warhammer," and this was, "Oh yeah, I played D&D," and this was like, "Oh yeah, I've read the Horus Heresy books," blah blah blah. And all of a sudden, it's like all these people come out the woodwork that they are actually closet geeks as well. I mean, some of them didn't even realise what they were, for example, what they were reading in terms of the books. But, you know, it means that these geek cultures are sort of impacting everyone's lives and getting into the mainstream, which is really good. Because I'm an advocate that geek games and culture is the best place to be, where you have the most fun, where you find friendship, and where you find these awesome little communities. So, you know, absolutely go and give Pokemon Go, or go and buy some Pokemon cards this weekend if you can. So before we end the show, we always end on our third section, as long as I remember, because sometimes I forget, the third section of the show, which is our hobby horror. So for this week, my hobby horror is The Long Wait. Now, I love a new thing that's coming out in the geeky world that sort of sits in my domain, and it might be something like a Dungeons and Dragons book or a Warhammer model or whatever it is. So I love to pre-order and reserve my geeky goods. All right? Does anyone else, I don't know if you're watching online and you're thinking, yeah, I love to pre-order some geeky goods, and I love to reserve mine so I get it in advance before everybody else. Well, I love doing that, right? Absolutely love it. However, what I don't love, I backed a D&D book series 2 years ago, right? 2 years ago, and it's an awesome book series, and it looked really amazing, and I was like, oh my god, this looks so good. I've got to back it. It was on Backer It, or whatever it's called, the bloody app where you back different proposed plans of making things. So I backed it anyway, and I was like, brilliant, can't wait for this to come out. That's going to be so good, blah, blah, blah. Well excited. 2 years later, I was still waiting. I delayed my D&D game because I was meant to be playing it ages ago. Delayed it because the stuff wasn't here. Stuff wasn't here. It still didn't arrive. And then all of a sudden, it arrived the other week. After 2 years of waiting, bearing in mind, it wasn't meant to be that long. And I started a D&D campaign thinking, I started a group saying, right, we're going to play D&D. This is the setting. This is what it's going to be. I'm waiting for this book to arrive. Then we'll kick it off, blah, blah, blah. So I'd sort of primed everyone, got everyone hyped and excited. And then the bloody thing didn't arrive. So I started a campaign. I did a homebrew campaign in D&D. And then I continued that. We finished that campaign because it went for about 1 year and 4 months. The book still wasn't here, and only now has it arrived, like 2 years down the line. Absolutely broke me. So that was one thing. The second thing was that I done a pre-order with Games Workshop, actually. And I was like, yes, this awesome thing. And I was like, I'm so excited to get this. It'll be brilliant. Pre-ordered it 9 months later, almost 10 months later, I think. And then it arrived. But I have finally got it now, so that's good. That came today. And my one that I was waiting for 2 years came last week. So they did eventually arrive. However, as a hobby horror moment, just read the small print. I didn't. I just got carried away in the moment. Didn't read the small print. Should have. So I could have set expectations accordingly. But I didn't. I was too eager beaver. Yeah, I didn't realise what the timelines were. And when you're waiting for 2 years for something, it kind of sucks. Especially when you finish your campaign and your D&D group's disbanded. So yeah, there's your lesson learned from your hobby horror. So as usual, we normally cover a moment in my life that's gone terribly wrong around the geek world, so you can learn from my mistakes and benefit from my learnings. Again, I'm using another variant metallic going across the sword here. This is more like a... what's the best way to describe this? Like a goldy bronze? It's still a bronze kind of colour, and it's called Balthasar Gold. I don't really think it's a gold. It's more bronzy coloured. Or copper. But it's super cool, and again, when you want different, when you've got lots of metallic, like you could just paint the whole thing silver or the whole thing gold, but crikey, it gets boring. So I like to have plenty of metallics at hand so that I can then separate all the little bits on the model. You don't have to paint like that, but I find that it just has a nicer after finish when you're sort of, rather than just going one colour and sweeping across the entire section of that model, you've actually got multiple colours in there, and you can sort of define little sections into this colour or into that colour. I find it works very well. So try it next time you're painting a model. If you've got a model like this where you're painting the sword, rather than having, you know, just one colour or two, just go for 3 or 4 metallics. See how it looks. Separate the different sections up. See what it looks like. Anyway, I think we need to stop there, because it's now 9 o'clock. Let's have a quick look and see where we are on the model. So there's the base. Looking pretty good. It's got a lot of the details in there. There's not everything done, but a lot of it's done. So it's looking pretty cool. Then you've got Gilliman himself. All the areas now pretty much covered. The backpack, though, does need some work. So the backpack's still got some bits to do on it. But it's not far. And you've got a little bit down on this weapon as well here. So you've got a little bit there to do, but not actually... Oh, and you've got the flames on the sword to do. But there's not actually a huge amount to do. More to do on this model is around touching up all of the areas. Like, if you look at the... I don't know if you can see, just here. The gold that's overrun from this part onto the section that's blue. So there's some tidying up errors to do. That's going to be the sort of biggest part of this, I think, next. Is tidying up and making sure all the colours sit right in the right places. But that's where we are with our Gilliman. He's looking pretty cool. Let's change across to the front view. What we saying? Oh, sorry guys, I've missed a load of chat. Apologies. So people will collect and treasure literally anything. Garbage. What's that? Garbage Pail Kids was the thing in my teens. Yeah, Cabbage Patch... I think they were called Cabbage Patch Kids with the girls' ones. And Garbage Patch Kids were the boys' ones, I think. Then people were collecting TY beanies. My thing was Generation 1 Transformers. Yes! I had loads of those too, Matt. Loads of those. They were awesome. I still see them now actually being advertised, and I go into like retro toy shops and I see them, I'm like, oh, I had that. I had that. Or figures and comics sold them about a month before the Michael Bay film. Oh, nice work. That's pretty good shout. Tiff is saying she has TY beanies here from when I was a kid. And a rare porcelain doll that was my great-grandma's on my dad's side. Ooh, porcelain dolls are normally creepy looking though, aren't they? Hopefully yours isn't a creepy looking one, Tiff. But yeah, beanie thingies, TY beanies were like massive, I think. Really, really sold a lot. Matt's saying, I'll eventually sell all these lead Warhammer figures and replace them with plastic ones. Yeah, the lead Warhammer ones go for a fair pretty penny. I sold a load not so long ago, some old fancy Warhammer ones, that is, and some old 40k ones, and you get a really good price. So yeah, worth doing. Adrian's saying, the long wait, the keys to the indoor mortar range. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Adrian. Tiffany's saying, the pewter ones are worth a decent bit. Yeah, they are. Yeah, absolutely are. When they changed from lead to pewter, I got loads. I've got cases of the things 1987. Wow. That's really cool. I think I've got this figure twice in lead, but it was called a different name, but I recognise the eagle on the shoulder. Oh, what, this guy? As in Gilliman. This one. So you've got Gilliman, but the old version. Oh, wow. Yeah, that would be cool to have. Apparently there's a new one coming out, or so the rumour mill says. But thank you thank you all for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. Even our man that was really hacked off with my AI art on the thumbnail. But thank you. And I genuinely mean it. You keep me entertained on a Friday. Hopefully I've kept you entertained. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you turn on your notifications so you can see when we go live. But we go live here every Friday, 7 PM UK time. Unless I can't. We also have our Discord. So check that out. Go to the bio on the YouTube page and you'll see a link to the Discord. Jump on the Discord and come and say hello, chat to us during the week. But if not, get yourself out into nature, get some fitness done of any sorts, walking, running, cycling, swimming, weightlifting, whatever it is, fitness classes. Go and do something, okay? Pokemon Go, get yourself out on the Pokemon Go app, right? Celebrate Pokemon's 30th year and get that Pokemon Go app, or go and buy some cards, get yourself some cards, go and get those and start collecting as well. Do something geeky. Fitness, geeky, great for the mind, great for the soul, great for the body, and it will make you feel so much better, all right? Look after yourselves, make sure you stay safe. To the next time, Tiff, yes, hope we see you on Mikey's stream again sometime soon, even if it's just a chat. Yes, hopefully I will make it. It's been really busy at my new work, but I will try to make it across. Great to see you all. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. I will speak to you all very soon. Stay safe. Goodbye.